Hello, and welcome to What's Your Story. We're so glad that you've joined us today. We have a fabulous guest for you. Her name is Melissa Rose, and she is an applied functional medicine practitioner specializing in helping professional women optimize their wellness so they can show up fully for themselves and their contribution to the world. So, welcome, Melissa. We're really happy to have you with us here. Well, goodness, I don't know what happened, John.
Did we lose her? Hang on.
Yeah, and you didn't bring her on. I said,
Gotcha.
welcome, Melissa, and she never showed up.
Sorry, phone went off. All
Oh,
right,
you want to start
let's
over, or do you want to
just
just?
start from introducing her. Just say, yeah, just
I
we'll
said,
start with her.
welcome.
We'll start with her introduction.
You want me to reintroduce her?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Okay.
it only takes a minute for me to start over from the beginning, if you want.
Well, I just didn't want to go through. I didn't want to play the intro and all that stuff. We
Oh,
just
I just was trying to save you some editing time.
it's easier to edit. No worries. I'm
Okay.
good at this.
So I will start with our guest today.
Okay. 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 Go ahead. 3, 2, 1.
I have a fabulous guest for you today. Her name is Melissa Rose, and she is an applied functional medicine practitioner specializing in helping professional women optimize their wellness so they can show up fully for themselves and their contribution to their world. So, welcome, Melissa.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be with you today, Judy.
Thank you. I'm delighted that you're here too, but I have a question for you. You have about 1 million letters after your name. And I don't know what they mean. So I'm going to call them out and I want you to tell us what they mean because you must be very well educated. The first one is AFMP.
I'm a member of the American Association of Drugless Practitioners. That's what that's for.
All right. And then there's a CHHC.
So Certified Holistic Health Coach.
Okay. And there's an AADP.
That's the Association of Drugless Practitioners, yes. And the AFMP is Applied Functional Medicine Practitioner.
Okay, so you have all of these certifications, so you can teach us how to be healthy. Good, I like it. Um, thank you so much for being here. So tell us, Melissa, who are you, and what have you chosen as your contribution to making the world a brighter place?
Wow. I love this question because I like to think of myself as an ambassador of hope simply because I get to help people feel better and often from really scary and complex dis-ease, and I'm using that on purpose, dis-ease in their bodies. And a lot of times it's things that they've been told that they can never get better from, just settle in, honey. You're going to be, you're going to get progressively worse. And the best we can do is try to slow it down. When that is not always the case. And I like to think that my story and the stories of others, you have one like this as well, when we have recovered and we've been able to beat the odds, if you will. But really, it was just leaning in and trusting our body and doing what we needed to do to really be well, fully well. So, yeah, I like to think of myself as kind of a purveyor of hope.
Well, I think you definitely are. You definitely are. So, what brought you to this kind of work?
Oof. That would be my story. That would be my diagnosis with multiple sclerosis. So I started now I know what the symptoms are of multiple sclerosis. Obviously, I didn't when I first had them, but
No.
when I was 9, I remember thinking, "Is this what it feels like to be old?" Everything hurt, no energy. You're supposed to be able to be doing cartwheels with the other
Yeah.
kids, and instead you're sitting in the corner with your dog going, "Can we go home now?" Um, but then through my growing up years being just sick all the time, tired, not being able to like do a lot. I could participate in sports and stuff, but on good days, it was great. On bad days, wasn't so great. School was hard for me because of brain fog and just some really like crazy, crazy periods. And by the time I got into my senior year of high school, I had migraines all the time. Sometimes they would be so dark that this eye would go blind.
Mm.
Um, in my early 20s, I was well on my way to having complete numbness on my left side, and my right side was beginning to go numb. I didn't know for sure what was going on. Like, my mom took me to specialists and stuff, and they're like, she's just tired. Let her sleep. Okay. But yeah,
That doesn't seem like a very good diagnosis, does it?
I know. And to be honest, a diagnosis really wouldn't have helped me simply because it's just giving a name to what was going on. I mean, it gives you a little bit of maybe a rest in your mind. Okay, I've got a name for it. But like to help me recover, I didn't have anybody in my world that was willing to help me with that. Um, so by the time I was diagnosed when I was 33, complete, like my left side didn't work at all. I was holding onto a chair, one of my kids, or the wall, or the couch to get around the house, um, and scared to death. I was a young mom with three kiddos
Oh,
and two businesses, and yeah, it wasn't
I'm
going good.
sure you were scared. You had to be scared.
Yeah, yeah, it was kind of crazy. So the
So
diagnosis
what,
for me. Go ahead.
so what did they tell you that you could do? You're 33 years old. They said, okay, now you've got multiple sclerosis. Didn't they tell you anything about what you could do to get better?
My choices were two different chemo drugs. And the doctor in the same, like, he handed me the piece of paper with the names of the drugs on, which I didn't know what they were until I went home and researched them. He's like, choose one of these and we'll get them started. And then on another piece of paper, he gave me the number for the place in town that rented wheelchairs and, the things to handicap your home. And he's like, you need to be in a wheelchair right now. You should not be trying to walk. You're not safe. That was my options. Kind of
So
crazy.
how did you find another way? How did you find your path to recovery? What was
Mm.
the pivotal choice that positioned you to say, okay, I'm not going to do one of these traditional drugs and I'm not getting a wheelchair?
Well, I can blame the not getting a wheelchair on being a stubborn German and an old ranch girl. Like, I'm not doing it. I am just not doing it. I knew if I somehow in my head, I knew that if I went and got a wheelchair and kind of gave into that, it was not going to be good. So I
Mm-mm.
really didn't know what to do. I chose to not do medications because, again, when I did my research, I it was starting to dawn on me how hard they were going to be on my body. And there was no guarantee that it was going to slow down what was happening because the type of MS I had was very progressing pretty quickly. And the doctor had told me that I would very likely be bedridden by the age of 45.
Wow.
And by 50, very likely still not living. So I'm like, if that's all I've got, I'm just going to live every day to the best I can and enjoy it all until I don't have it anymore. So I just went home. Yeah. It wasn't a conscious choice, I guess, except for I just don't want that.
Yes, yes, yes.
And it was probably a year and a half, 2 years before we moved to another state for a new job and new friends, and a new friend was like, "Oh, you got to come see my doc." And I was not too crazy about doctors by then. I'd been poked and prodded and I knew what was going on. So I'm like, just live. But I went, and he does much what I do today and just really gently guided me. And I started getting better, like really starting to unravel what was going on with my body. And I thought, yeah, this is whatever. This is never going to work. But here I am.
So did you go the naturopathic route?
Um, my doctor was a chiropractor, but he was also a functional medicine
Mhm.
practitioner. He did NET, which is neuro emotional technique, which turned out to be a huge help for me. But yeah, just slowly, slowly peeling back the layers of what my body needed, getting me back on track. And took me about 2.5 years to for my last symptom to go away.
Did you have to go on a specific diet or
For a
a
bit.
new lifestyle where you had to rest or get exercise or any of those things?
Mm, Diet, yes. Diet was a big deal for me. I was really sensitive to gluten. Really sensitive, as in after I'd been on it off of it a while, and if I would mess up or just get a hankering for homemade rolls,
Yes, yes.
uh, it was about 10 minutes after I ate gluten, my left side would start to go numb again.
That's
And
interesting.
yeah, I was like, no, I love bread. I love fresh, buttery rolls right out of the oven, but it was not worth me not walking.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
Yeah. So yeah, some changes there, allowing myself to rest a little bit more. I was still a ranch wife at that time, so I was able to get out and work more. I mean, fix and fence and all the things that you do.
Mhm.
But it I guess I was getting must have been getting enough exercise. I can't remember a protocol that he put me on for that, but the food was a really big thing for me.
Yeah, did you have to eliminate anything like red meat or white foods or flour or sugar or anything?
Sugar, yes. Flour, yes. For a little bit, I had to eliminate like nightshades. So
Hmm.
things, tomatoes, potatoes, that kind of thing. Those really made my joints hurt and my body hurt. Um, Let me think. That was pretty much it. No, I didn't do dairy for a while
Hmm.
just because my gut didn't like it. I didn't necessarily have a sensitivity to it, but it just kind of made me feel icky. I'm
Yeah,
fine with it now, but yeah. And those were temporary until my body got better.
right, right.
Yeah.
I find it interesting how diet plays such a big part of it because when I had cancer, I refused to have
Mhm.
traditional treatment, and my
Mhm.
doctor totally changed my diet. It was like no red meat, only wild caught fish, no white foods,
Mhm.
no sugar, no packaged foods. By the time he got through with his list, I said, "Is there anything left that I can eat?" And he said, "You can eat
Right?
all the vegetables you want as long as they grow above ground." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Which is a lot.
Yes. And you know what? I still eat the way he taught me to eat, and I'm not suffering from it. In fact, I'm very, very healthy. And the oncologist had told me I only had a couple months to live, and here it is 14 years later, and I'm doing real well. So um, I trust in this idea of really looking. I grew up in a household where we followed that pyramid that the FDA put out. You had to eat what
Yep.
was on the pyramid, and so we ate well, we thought, because we did what we were told. But
Yeah.
when I got this cancer and the doctor said, no, 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 you're going to do this, it was like, what? You mean my whole life I haven't been eating healthy?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's huge for us though, because we all try. We
Hmm.
try really hard. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if someone else is experiencing the symptoms like you experienced, what would you recommend for them to do?
Oof. Find a practitioner that resonates with them and just dive in. Don't wait. I think that's like if I have a regret, it would be that simply because I didn't dive in. I mean, we didn't have a lot of um funding to put towards functional care because it can be expensive. But when I did finally make the choice of I am worth it, I
Mhm.
am worth investing in me and seeing if I can get better, I would have done that sooner. I would have not waited. Um, and then to find a practitioner that resonates with you. If you're working with somebody and you're in a session and you're like, I know this is what I'm supposed to do, but I really don't like it. Find somebody that really you can connect with.
I think you have to listen to the voice inside of you because my voice kept going, no, 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 no.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that. Yes. That's what was like screaming in my head when I was in the appointment with the neurologist and he was telling me what was going on, right, and giving me my choices. I was just like, no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. And do you know that I had friends that got angry with me because I wouldn't have chemo? They were nasty to me.
me too.
Did you too? I mean, I'm
Yep.
always amazed that people stick their nose in our business and get mean and hateful about something that has nothing to do with their health. It's not like I was withholding medicine from them, but
Yep.
boy, they got nasty with me.
Yep. Yep. I got the whole guilt thing. You're a mom of 3 young boys. Don't you want to try? Like I wasn't trying. I'm like, oh, yeah, that guilt thing is heavy.
It is, and I think because our country is so immersed in traditional medicine, and insurance pays for traditional medicine, and so therefore people will stick with that. And so when one of us
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, I'm not doing that. I'll pay out of my own pocket before I'll do that," then other people are like, "What's wrong with you? Something's
Yeah.
wrong with your brain." And but you know what? I've learned over the years to listen to that voice inside of me. And when the voice says, no, 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 I don't do it. And when it says,
Yeah.
okay, and I'll never forget when I walked in the doctor's office that day and up in Cedar City, Utah, I drove all the way 6 hours to see this doctor up there. And I walked in and he said, let's see if we can get you well. And he was the first doctor that had said that. Everybody else had said, let's talk about your treatment. And
Ah.
that's what they say. Let's talk about treatment.
Mm.
Nobody says, let's get you well. And so when he said that, I'm like, yes, I'm here. And he was recommended to me by a friend of mine who had multiple sclerosis. And he
Mhm.
had treated her for years. And she was doing so well, because she hadn't been able to walk when she went to him. And now she
Yep.
was walking and fully functioning. And she
Mhm.
recommended him to me. She said, Judy, I think you need to go to this doctor. And I'm really glad I did.
Yeah. Our friends just come through for us sometimes now, don't they?
They're very important. They really are
Oh, I
very
love
important.
it. My
Yeah. Now,
friend that was
where do
go
you
ahead.
live in? What part of the country do you live in?
Helena, Montana.
Oh, you're in Montana still. That's why you're a ranch girl.
Yep. 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 Grew up on one, had one after I was married. Yep. My boys, you know the song, Mamas Don't Let Your
Yes,
Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. Well, I tried, but
they are growing
they're
up to
still
be
cowboys.
cowboys. Well, in Montana, they got to be cowboys, And don't they have a FFA in school?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So they'll not only be cowboys, they'll be real good speakers at the same time because they train those guys how to speak so they can sell their cows.
Yep. Yep. Although I'm not sure if two of them would be caught dead on a stage of any sort. They're so shy.
Uh,
Oh
how old are
gosh.
they now?
Um, 19, 21, and 22.
Oh, they're grown up. They're grown men.
Yep, they're grown men. Yep.
You don't look old enough to have children that age.
Oh, just ask my niece someday.
Now, let me ask you this. Did your family have any kind of resistance to the change in the diet?
Yeah. Yeah, especially early on because we were ranchers. We had bread and beef and potatoes. Excuse me. That was kind of, and other things thrown in. But when I started needing to change my food, everybody else had to change with me, which didn't hurt them a bit. But there was a lot of complaining. And I
Yeah.
learned how to, of course, I was a home cook. So learning how to substitute and make things that were gluten-free that tasted good. That was
Mhm.
a challenge at the beginning because, excuse me, I was used to cooking with flour.
Yes, I know. I come from the South. We use flour and cornmeal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now you're going to be speaking at the Women Thrive Conference in March 18th to 23rd. What are you going to speak about there?
Oh, I'm really going to tell my story, but also leaning in with everyone who is listening with some really concrete things that they can do to get started to be better. One of the reasons I wanted to share that with everyone is that I had no idea where to start. I had absolutely no idea. And if somebody would have given me just a few simple, let's start here, I would
Yes,
have been on it like white on rice.
yes, yes. But you know what? So many times people don't know, and they don't know what to tell us, and we don't know what to ask.
Exactly. Yeah,
But I think that's the important thing. If you start to feel that anything in your body isn't working right, then you should start asking some kind of questions, even if you feel the questions are wrong.
exactly. So, two of the questions that I hear so much, especially when clients have been through the mill with traditional medicine or even with other integrative or functional medicine practitioners, their two questions are one, why? Like, what is happening in my body? The second one is, what can I do? And often we're told you can't know what's going on in your body and there's nothing you can do, which those are straight up untruths because those questions that come up, I mean, that comes from your gut. And that's the question that needs to be asked. What is going on in the body? And then what can you do about it? Those are the pivotal questions. And even if you can't think of asking anything else, ask that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then lean in and see what you learn from your body.
And
Yeah,
don't just take there's nothing you can do for an answer.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's curious how simple It's curious how simple our bodies are, but yet so brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when we think about what can I do, sometimes it's really simple things that make the biggest difference.
Now, is this the reason that you became an applied functional medicine practitioner?
Exactly. Like I've been told there was no recovery. Like just settle in, honey, get used to, being sick. It's just going to get worse. Basically put your affairs in order and just love every day that you get to live. But when I started to get better and then I was living symptom free and starting to learn to trust my body and trust my wellness again, I was like, I'm no special chick. If I can get better, other people can. And then on the like immediately after, okay, so how can I help other people become well? And that's what has fueled my journey of I'll probably be in school until I'm dead because I love to learn. I love to learn new things. I love to study. I love to figure out better, easier, more simple ways for people to become well.
Yes. Yes. So if someone out there would like to be in touch with you to find out more about what you do, or if you can help them, or if you could come and speak on one of their stages to one of their groups, how would they reach you?
The best place to find me is at autoimmunerecovery.org. Make sure it's
Autoimmunerecovery.org.
Yep. And if you want to get in touch with me, the best way is you can even directly email me if you like, Melissa at sagebrushwellness.com. That's our parent company right now. We're getting everything switched over. But if you want to explore what working with me or one of our team or our whole team, actually, if you want to, there is a link on almost every page to be able to book in for an introductory call. That's the best place to start. You
On your
get to
website.
chat on the website. Yep.
Okay.
You
And
get
that's Sagebrush Wellness.
the website is autoimmunerecovery.org.
Okay. Autoimmunerecovery.org.
Yep. The best email is melissa at sagebrushwellness.com.
Okay. Got it.
Yep. Little confusing. We're still completing a rebrand and a rename. So
Yeah. Now, don't you have, are you working on some project to, it seems like somebody told me you were doing something. It was
yeah.
really good what you're doing. What is it?
So that's part of the whole autoimmunerecovery.org. We wanted to create a broader space for us to not only have the clinical work that we do, so, increasing our team, increasing our ability to serve people one-on-one, but we also, using the .org, we wanted to create a space for us to be able to have a nonprofit side. So this is yet to be unfolded, but this is what we want to do. We want to have a scholarship part of this so that we can we can raise money and be able to provide scholarships to people who need our services but can't afford them. We're going to also have an educational wing for practitioners. I've got practitioners who are wanting me to teach them, and I can do one-on-ones for a while, but we need a full education wing that will be housed under the .org side. And then the third thing is a research side. There's so much research in, all the drugs and everything because it's funded by the drug companies.
Yes.
So what we need is more research that really goes into what I do, what so many other practitioners and the doctor you went to, what we actually do. We need research going into our methods, what we use, how we do this, so that it can be then brought into the mainstream.
Yes. Yes.
I know,
Well,
big dreams.
well, good for you. You never get anywhere if you don't dream big.
Right. Yeah.
It's so true. You have to dream big. And good for you. I'm proud of you.
Yep. So we're looking for people to join us in realizing that dream, especially the nonprofit side, because we're going to need a full army of folks that are just coming in and supporting. So if you or someone else you think would be an awesome fit or would love to come alongside, we're happy to entertain that idea because we need all the people.
Well, I'm sure somebody out there that's listening is thinking, oh, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And now they know how to get in touch with you, huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guess what? We're out of time. This has been so fun. I've learned so much. And I learned what all your initials meant, that you're a very smart woman. You've studied everything. So Thank you so much for being with us here
Thank
today.
you.
It's been absolutely wonderful. I've really enjoyed learning more about you, and I'm sure my audience did as well.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you for having me on. I've enjoyed this as well.
Well, you're a great guest. Thank you. I've really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Awesome.
And thank you for joining us today. As you can see, we had another fabulous guest with lots of good information. And if you are suffering with some kind of an illness that you're just not sure what it is or why, maybe you should be in touch with Melissa because she really does know her stuff. She really does. So thank you for being here with us today. And please come back again soon because we have a lot more fabulous, fantastic, interesting women entrepreneurs to introduce you to.